Hey guys, how you doing? In this video, I'm gonna show you how I made this mobile computer cabinet, but you can use it for whatever you want. We're making dog bones right here. All right, you wanna do it again? All right, help me out, hit the button. Good job. Wait, do it again. Do it again. And again. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Good job. I don't know if you can tell what's going on, but that's really cool.
Let's get some more.
Good job, more dog bones. You know, mornings like this, I will treasure forever for sure. But coming out to the shop, I'm gonna cut down some plywood. I'm gonna put this on the CNC using Vectrix VCarve Pro. They have a box joint generator, but first, so this is one of the aspects of the CNC that is really awesome. Come here, baby. Come here.
Hi, Box.
Say hi.
Hi.
So here's the deal, is that I have a piece of shop furniture being cut right now, and this is what I get to do while that's working, okay? That's another aspect. Not only will the machine help you make money by commissions, but stuff like this too. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, I want to share that with you. Hey, what are we doing? What do we do? Are we going on a treasure hunt?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's go. I know in the previous clip it was a mess back here, but I took care of it, okay? Hey, say hi. Go back to the shop. So like I said, there is a box joint generator in VCarve that is pretty tremendous. You basically tell the system what you want your interior dimensions to be, X, Y, and Z, and it cuts everything out for you with the right tolerances. Actually, they give you default tolerances, and you may need to play with it just a little bit, but it's pretty spot on the first time you use it. So truth be told, I made this a few weeks ago, maybe even a month or so ago. And so this was the time when I was still getting used to the CNC. I figured this would be a great entry project for me to do the entire process on the CNC to make a new cabinet. Well, basically a roll around shop desk with a live edge. I mean, why not? So I do this, and yeah, I've made traditional cabinetry before. I've got a drill press cabinet that I'll link below as well. And with a little interlude, this is the drill press cabinet that I was talking about. So if you want to check it out, no CNC whatsoever, of course, you can make something like that too. And I'm actually heavily considering making a set of plans for this project that uses traditional woodworking techniques. I'm not sure if I'm going to, maybe more details later in the video. And on the bottom of the piece, I'm going to double up the material. That way I can install some casters with a little bit thicker screws than 3/4 of an inch. So we're gonna put this piece down on the ground. I'm gonna put the other box on top of it. You can see here that this is kind of what it's gonna look like, minus having drawers in it and a live edge top. Now we're gonna go back into VCarve Pro and use this box joint generator that I was talking about, where you just put in your dimensions and then boom, put in if you want dovetails or square tabs, whatever you want. I like using just box joints, finger joints, and there you go. Those are your pieces. You can rearrange them on the material to fit your size of your CNC and then cut them out. Pretty easy stuff. Once I got VCarve, it took me a little bit to get used to it, but honestly, it's a really intuitive program. If you're into the CNC world, definitely Vectrix is the way to go. I'm gonna put a link down below for them as well. So once the big blue penguin is done doing its thing, thank you, sir, these box joints look pretty nice. And again, I'm apprehensive still at this point. I know it's gonna work, but after sanding it all down, is it gonna work? And absolutely it does. Now you're gonna notice as I'm putting this together, the finger joints are a little proud of each other. So not because they're doing a good job, that's not what I'm talking about. You can see there, that's a good shot where the finger joints kind of go past, giving the drawer a little bit of an undersized, I kind of made a mistake there. So instead of going back and recutting all the drawers, I'm going to show you how I mitigate that mistake here just in a second. But before that, I'm going to install some drawer slides. So I've got them raised up about 1.5 inches on a piece of wood. I installed this one. I have the same size spacer block on the other side. And then I installed the second one. These are soft closed drawers, by the way. I think I got those from Rockler. And This is what I have to do to mitigate that little bit of a 1/32 or 1/16 of an inch, just too shy of a drawer. I had to put a strip in there to make sure there was enough grab or enough width for the drawer slides to be attached to. Once I did that, everything was fine. So again, like I said before, if you're going to do this with traditional woodworking techniques, of course you're going to make your drawers 1 inch less of an opening than the opening they're going into. And cutting them on a CNC, because I was still learning this program, I was off just a little bit, but we were able to mitigate it pretty easily with that strip. As you see here, everything works pretty well. And with the first drawer complete, it's now time to work our way up. I put similar spacers in. I attached the sides of the drawer slides and then the actual slides to the drawers themselves. And when I insert them, you're going to notice that the top and the bottom of this cabinet is going to be, well, there's going to be a gap that's really large at the top and the bottom. Reason being, I want the 4 drawers in the middle to be the same, and the drawer on the top and the bottom, well, I want those to have a little bit more room. I want to thank Bits and Bits as well. They sent over some unbelievable white side bits with this really awesome Astra coating. I'm going to link them down below. I can actually save you 10% on a Bits and Bits order. I've got a coupon code down there as well. I'm going to attach a piece of scrap material to the bottom of this. That way I can get a reference mark to rest these drawer faces on. And then we're going to go ahead and drill the hardware holes out first. Well, you may have noticed in a lot of other maker videos, they explain the same process where you drill your hardware holes out on your drawer faces first. That way you can use those holes to attach the face to the drawer. Pull the drawer out. You're going to see all this just in a second, but you're going to notice I'm going ahead and line everything up. And then I'm going to follow some predetermined holes I've already measured out all the way down all 4 of these pieces, giving me the nice, congruent, straight line down on the hardware that I need for the entire cabinet. Now it's time to join the 2 pieces together. Pretty simply, I'm just going to do this by eye. I'm going to make sure I've got enough room to attach this thing. So I'm going to clamp it in place, removing some of the drawers. And then I'm actually going to clamp the back of it with some really long clamps because I can't really get clamps in the back there. So what I'm going to use are some flush trim screws. We're going to drill a slight hole at a slight angle, and we're just going to attach these 2 carcasses together with 4 flush trim screws. Pretty easy process. And that's all we're going to need. So here's the technique that I was telling you about earlier, basically where you use the hardware holes to attach the drawer face to the drawer with some flathead screws. You're going to see I'm going to work my way all the way up. I'm going to use some playing cards. I think I've got about 5 or 6 of them here for a space that I want. Work my way all the way up the cabinet, doing the same process over and over again. And then I'm going to take every single drawer, and before I take them out, I want to make sure they go back in the exact same spot. I'm going to label them. I'm going to put a T for the top drawer, and then I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down like you see here. And then taking all the drawers out, you can see here I'm able to install the drawer faces thusly with a couple of screws to make sure you got the right screws here, guys. You don't want to blow through the face of your drawer. Oh, I'll give you a better look right here. It really is that simple. Once these screws are installed, you then can remove the others. Sand everything flush, and then attach your hardware. So again, another happy accident here. I'm going to use a countersink because the screws that came with the hardware aren't thick enough to get through 2 pieces of plywood. So I'm going to countersink the inside of the drawer. You're going to see here I got just enough room for the screw to come out to hit the handle, and also it gets the screw heads out of the way of the inside of the drawer. So it's a win-win in my opinion. Now it's time to install all the drawers back from the bottom on up. And honestly, this is really turning out much nicer than I thought for being all plywood and shop furniture. Pretty darn cool. Check this out. Woohoo! Now it's time to do a flattening pass on a piece of live edge poplar. I've had this piece for a couple years now. I've been wanting to know what the heck I was going to do with it. And I think this is a perfect application to go ahead and use this as a desktop. So after a couple flattening passes on both sides on that CNC, we're going to cut this down to the right dimensions to fit with a little bit of overhang from the top of the cabinet we just made, probably about a 1/2 inch or so on each side, maybe a little longer on the live edge sides for sure. So after sanding everything down by hand, I'm realizing that this knot is sticking out. Well, I was going to use it for a certain aspect of this process, and I think I'm going to still keep it. So I'm going to stabilize it with some CA glue and some activator, and I'm going to repeat this process a few times, sand it all down, and I can't wait to show you exactly what this little thing is going to do. But it should be pretty cool. Now it's time to go ahead and tape off the bottom of this slab. We got some voids and cracks to fill for sure. I'm going to use Total Boat's 2-to-1 high performance resin. This is my go-to resin for this kind of process. Actually, it's a really great all-around resin. It's great to have around the shop. I've got coupon codes, save yourself 10%. They're in the description as well. And we're going to use some of this black diamond pigment. This is the emerald green. We're not going to mix that blue in. I think that's a little too cliche. But this green is a pretty nice deep green. I think I'm going to like it. There is one more rule. When you mix your resin in one cup, do be sure to pour it into another and stir it again before you go ahead and lay it in the cracks, because you want the resin to be completely mixed with the hardener. And if you use the same cup, you mixed both in together, you're not guaranteeing everything's going to be mixed properly. So once it's all solidified for about 6 or 7 hours, I'm using a heat gun to lift the top up a little bit, kind of make it a little more pliable, and then an old chisel to go ahead and scrape it away. Instead of sanding all that down, that was such a faster process, my goodness, and it worked out really well. And this is a subtle green, very subtle. But what's not subtle is putting your own logo in your own desk, and that's what we're gonna do here. Using my Penguin CNC, this thing is a beast. I love this machine. At the time of filming this, I hadn't done too much with it. However, I have now, and I absolutely love how this turned out. We're going to go ahead and seal up the grain with some Total Boat's wood sealer first. And once that's dry, we're going to go ahead and pour in, yep, you guessed it, more of that 2-to-1 high performance resin. Now, if you're really looking to get into resin, I definitely recommend checking out this pump. It is a 2-to-1 ratio dispensing pump, and it's not cheap, but it's definitely worth it, I think, if you're going to be doing resin projects, especially when you have to mix up small batches very often. It comes in super handy. So what I've done here is I've taken some more of this black diamond pigment. We're going to go with the straight black charcoal. And again, we're going to transfer cups. You don't want any of that hardener and resin not mixed to be in the final product. And once we're done mixing it to the manufacturer's instructions, I'm going to go ahead and try to, well, I've used a heat gun here to kind of make a spout in one of these cups. See how it works. In the grand scheme of things, honestly, this didn't really matter because I ended up just kind of flooding the whole surface. But hey, it was worth the attempt for sure. And as you see here, we're doing our best to make sure that only the voids get filled in. And if they don't, we'll just sand it away, which ends up happening here on the rim. But that's okay. Really liking how it's turning out so far, but I'm not looking forward to the sanding process. It took me about 10 minutes to get this whole thing completely cleared off. I mean, honestly, it wasn't that bad. But that being said, if you make sure that you're careful with your resin pours, you won't have to do very much cleanup in the end. And of course, I do like to put a nice hand chamfer on the sides with a sander. I like the kind of organic nature of live edge stuff, so I typically don't use a router bit when I do a chamfer on these pieces because I want them to have, yeah, it does look like maybe it was done with a router bit, but it does have some still sanded by hand character. And here you go. Look at that. I absolutely am over the moon with how that looks, especially on this new desk. Totally digging it. Not that I'm too worried about expansion, but I'm using a bit that's a bit larger than the screw itself that's going to attach the live edge slab to the desk. Reason being, just in case this thing decides to move around a little bit, I don't want it being bound up and cracking. That would not be good. So we're going to go ahead and drill about 6 holes in the top, and then we're going to use panhead screws with a washer to kind of hold everything in place. And I like to hand tighten these just in case. So the project is looking pretty good, but it does need some finish. And for that, well, I like to do my finishing with an HVLP sprayer. And when I do that, I try to batch out projects at the same time. Reason being, I don't want to just live with my shop the way it is right here. You can see here I'm using Total Boats Halcyon. This stuff is amazing. And you can see I've got a couple projects going on. Now, I used this on that 7-drawer dresser I made a few weeks back, maybe a month or so, and I detailed this process, but it does bear repeating. So what I'm going to tell you is you want to put this stuff into a container, mix it together, then you want to filter it through into your canister. When that's done, here's how you do it. You apply one coat, wait an hour, apply another coat, wait one more hour, and then apply your third coat. Once that's done, it needs to cure overnight, preferably 12 hours. Then you can sand it to 320. After that, your final coat needs to go on a little thicker than you might think. What I mean by that is, when you spray it on, you're going to see a little bit of an orange peel effect. And I'm going to show it to you right, well, it's coming up here soon. You're going to see the actual A Glimpse Inside logo and the live edge. There it is. You can see it in the light. It's a freshly thick coat of final finish, but it self-levels just like resin. It's amazing. Hey guys, and also I want to let you know that this project I thought was so functional that I had a set of plans developed for this exact cabinet made with traditional woodworking techniques. I made this on the CNC. It was to really help me kind of, a rite of passage, if you will. But the set of plans for this cabinet, super functional, is on my website down below. So click the link below, check this out. Hope you enjoy it, and back to the video. All right, on to some of the storage for the drawers. Gone back into Vectrix V-Carve here, and I'm gonna make some circles. Pretty simple. And why am I doing so? Well, I need some router bit storage, and this is really gonna help me with this. I'm using these Astra-coated white side bits from Bits and Bits. And again, all the products I use in this video, I'm gonna link down below with the appropriate affiliate coupon code to save yourself some money when you do purchase some of this stuff, because I have them in these videos because I believe in them and they work really well. So you can see here, yeah, it's a lot of holes. So we're gonna go ahead and trim up one side here on the disc sander, and I'm gonna go ahead and round over the inside corner of this. Reason being, this is gonna nestle down into the drawer, and I want somewhere to be able to, put my finger in and pull it out. Should be good. All right, but here's the deal. We gotta raise it up just a little bit. So we're gonna use some CA glue and activator with these little spacer blocks. And that's all we're gonna need to get it up off the bottom of the drawer, so we can install a really cool little handy thing here. Rockler sent over these drill bit or router bit storage inserts. They hold, well, it's 2 for 1. They hold the 1/2-inch shank and the 1/4-inch shank all in the same holder. All you do is you can drill out a hole with their Forstner bits, or you can cut them on the CNC like I did, and then you play a little game of whack-a-mole, and you're good to go. So the holes drilled without the router bit holders, well, they're for collets and various other things. And I'm gonna give you a closer look at these router bit holders. Pretty cool stuff. You can see the 1/4-inch shank goes in thusly, and there's some 1/2-inch shanks as well. They go in pretty well. So here's my setup so far, and I'm really loving how this turned out. And you can see from digitally to in the real world, this thing works really well. I'm so happy to get this desk done. Well, there you have it, guys. What do you think? This is fantastic. I love how it turned out. Yes, I did make this on the CNC, and like I said, the set of plans is down below. This thing, I don't know, man. My foray into this market with the CNC, I had to make something like this to get my computer set up, and everything I need that entails using this is down here in this thing all in one spot. Of course, you can use this for whatever you want. You can make multiples of these. You can have them up against the wall. This is the beauty of woodworking. You make what you want, and that's the beauty of it. So, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this build. A little lengthy, however, I think it was value added. Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you on that next project. Until then, get out there, make something cool, make something with your friends, your family, who knows. Just get out there and do it. See y'all later.